Hey, how you doing?
All right,
Whoa,
how are you doing?
Pretty good,
we're
thank you.
into
Thank you for
spinning.
joining us for our tasting on a Friday. It's very good of you. Thank you very much, and you, Stefan. We're just do a little bit of admin here so I can work out. Can I pin myself?
You
Because
are pinned on mine, Ben.
I'm
I
not
can
pinned
see
on
four
me.
of us. What can everyone else
Add
see? Can everyone
pin.
else see four of us
There
in
we
the big
go.
screen?
Pinned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Um, Brilliant.
Two
All
years of
right.
using this, we still don't know what we're doing. It's great.
Yeah. Welcome to everyone. This is the first time we've had. Um, uh, this is the first one of 2026. I hope everyone was doing well. How's it, Stefan? You're unpinned again. Hang on, wait a minute. All right, let's keep it. Let's keep it like that. Um, a happy New Year and all that nonsense. But we're very excited to have uh, the guys from Mexico here. We've got Tony Salles, who is the master distiller, ambassador distiller. Well, how would you describe yourself?
I'm the master distiller here in Maine for Tequileño.
Okay, so you make all the
Fantastic.
liquid.
Yes. And we have Stefan as well, who we've known for a long, long time, but haven't heard from for quite a while, who has been instrumental in making this happen as well. So hello, Stefan.
Stefan,
Hi,
what
everybody.
you do a lot of different things for the company, don't you, Stefan? But what
Yeah,
would be your
yeah, yeah. So,
specific
so,
job
um,
title?
yeah. So for everybody, so introduce myself. I'm a Scotsman that fell in love with tequila and the culture of Mexico, and ended up in Mexico. And I'm the vice president of the company, looking after all international sales, marketing, and kind of a bit of. I work with Tony very closely, and we're a small big company, if that makes sense. So there's very small team, and we all kind of wear many hats. So
Right.
to grow our brand, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Tony. Tony makes the tequila, but he's traveling around the world with me and attending dinners and shows and all sorts of things.
Right. Brilliant. It's a good
Well,
life, Tony.
we're going to uh, just a bit of background about the brand. We've got three tequilas which we're tasting over the hour. But a bit of I mean, I had a long chat with Stefan. I've written an article about this brand, about the tequilas, about the distillery for a magazine. So I'm pretty well versed in it now. It's a great story, but it all started. It's family owned,
Yeah.
1959.
So,
Um,
I'll give a little
yeah,
introduction to Tony. First, obviously, I've told you guys about me coming over to Mexico, but one of the reasons I got involved in this brand is not just a brand. You'll go into many liquor stores and you'll see many different tequila selections, and Tequileño is one of really the true, authentic tequila brands still left in the industry. Um, there's so many facts that we could tell you about the brand and being one of the kind of the founding brands that was involved in the CRT, which is the governing body. And it was something that I just loved, the authenticity, the integrity, and the quality, and being a tequila nerd at heart, that drew me to coming and having an opportunity to work with the brand. And to introduce Tony now, Tony said he's a master distiller, but he's third generation master distiller. And his grandfather was the one that founded the company. And I'm going to pass it over to Tony now. He tells the story a lot better, but nowadays there's not a lot of brands that can say three generations running at the helm and a real quality tequila. Over to you, Tony.
Last up to have it proper, so. Okay. Thank you.
Last up to have
So,
it. That's what's still got back.
Alexander, yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers. It was just on
I'll
sticking
tell
with
you
you.
a little bit about the story of the company. Well, we started. My grandfather began making tequila back in 1941. So, from my grandfather's name, as you know, is Jorge Salles Cuervo. So, yes, we're related to the Cuervo family. He was the grandnephew of Jose Cuervo. So we're related to the Cuervo family. My grandfather decided to start making tequila back in 1941. So from 1941 to 1958, all the tequila that he made was for Casa Cuervo. Facing a bit of a problem because he was getting he being let go. Plus, the manager of Cuervo at that time happened to be also my grandfather's father-in-law. So you can imagine the situation. The guy telling you, you know what, you're married, you got kids, happen to be my daughter and my grandkids, so better start doing something fast. That's why he decided to launch his own brand in 1959. And that's how El Tequileño came to life. Tequileño means somebody from the town of Tequila. And since we were located in the town, he wanted to represent the people of tequila, but he knew he had to do a good tequila because people here are very critical of that product, especially if it has the people's name. So yeah, we had a lot of followers, but a lot of critics. So he decided that he had to do a good tequila that would really represent the town of Tequila. And since then, well, my grandfather did it. And then in the 70s, I think it was when my father joined into the company. So he's been in the company since the early 70s. He started working for the company. My father is one of the five Gran Tequileros in the industry. It's a prize they give only to very selected ones. There have only been five prizes awarded. And fortunate enough, well, my father, my teacher, has been one of those lucky ones to get that prize. So I have a very high standards to live to, and I have a very big passion for making tequila. It's what I like, and I enjoy doing it. So it's been almost 21 years now that I've been running the company, and it is a very nice point that we're being able to grow, but also growing without changing the recipe, growing without changing the flavor. So that's the hardest part of growth, and we've managed to do it so far.
Mm.
But you're based,
Stephen, can I just go back to that CRT issue that you had mentioned earlier? So the company was part of that because that's really changed everyone's appreciation of you could arguably say agave spirits because from the improvement of quality in tequila, we've been able to explore wider agave spirits as well. So to be part of that is fairly critical, wasn't it?
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that was the foundation of setting the standards. You know, it was something that obviously had the denomination of origin, like champagne, like cognac, and Tequileño was one of the founding houses, tequila houses, that when the CRT was formed, they were one of the first to join in that, and there was only I think it's 27, Tony, off the top of my head. 20 at that time, there was only 27 distilleries making tequila, give or take, and now there's like 200.
So imagine back in the days, every year, still most tequileros get together and just have a party. Back in those days, my father had like a little house in the outskirts of the town, and they could fit in one house and then have a nice barbecue. Nowadays, we need to rent uh, a whole thing, like it's over like at least 200 distilleries plus brands and stuff. So yeah, the first 5 years, my grandfather did the annual party in his house because it wasn't that many people making tequila. So yeah, you could fit them in a small place.
and how do you feel as one of the sort of, I suppose, the founding fathers of the scene, of the tequila scene? How do you find the whole tequila world at the moment? As you know, the last decade has just seen. I mean, it's been growing, but the last decade has seen a huge influx of not just new brands, but new celebrity endorsed brands. Tequila, growing. I mean, does it feel as if it's still got that nice communal feel to it, or is it becoming a little bit more big business?
No, it's getting big business. It's not
Yeah.
not anymore that small community, but we gotta embrace everything that comes along. Like I said, you said celebrities and stuff, and talking to other tequila makers, I've learned that sometimes, even though some people say that celebrities are bad for the business, well, if you gotta look at it the other way. The celebrities are the ones that brought, like they explain it to me, like little cakes. And there's the tequila cake, the vodka cake, and the rum cake, and the celebrities brought people that came from other cakes into the tequila cake, so we got more potential customers that, yeah, they may at the beginning they might drink a celebrity tequila, but once they get introduced tequila world, they can explore other brands, and there's us, and we know that if we're a good tequila, quality tequila, we'll probably be one of those selected brands for those new customers, because we needed the market to grow.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when we went to Guadalajara, which was what 5, 6 years ago, because the brand wasn't, I'd heard of the brand, and in fact, the only time I'd actually seen it was at Green and Red, where Stefan was working, what, 20 years ago, 50,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
something like that.
sorry to
20
mention
years
that,
ago.
Stefan. But it was in all the cantinas, in all the bars, and also restaurants. The locals were drinking your tequila,
Mhm.
and it was along with. I mean, there was a couple of others, obviously, but um, from what I understand, in the 70s, so what sort of six out of 10 bottles were being of every bottle of spirits sold in Guadalajara were which if you don't know, Guadalajara is the nearest big city really to tequila. So it's
Guadalajara is the
yeah,
second largest city in Mexico. It's the
yeah,
capital of Jalisco, the state,
yeah,
and it's like 7 million people in metropolitan Guadalajara. So it's a pretty big city um, overall. And it's an important point there, Ben, which is Tequileño started in the state of Jalisco, and really there was Tony and his father did a little bit selling here and there, but really until 2018, from 1959 until 2018, that is where Tequileño was built. It was one of the top brands here. Every bar, cantina, restaurant, liquor store you go into has Tequileño and lots of it, and it really is seen as kind of. And I always describe it as kind of like it's the people's tequila. Everybody has a bottle in their house. I mean, everybody I know here has a bottle of Tequileño in their house. It's just well known for being a good quality tequila, and and so they like it. They drink it, and not many brands nowadays. I mean, there's 3,500 brands of tequila available. Okay,
That is
that are
mad,
made in,
really.
yeah,
How
which are
quickly
made
that's
in
gone, I
those.
suppose it's a bit like gin in that respect. But
It's
that is mad how quickly it's gone
it's
that way.
crazy. It's growing really fast. The industry, the tequila business is growing. Consumers, everybody, all you guys are drinking are becoming more educated, and you're understanding. But there's very few of those 3,500 brands that are actually sold in Mexico. And when we grew our brand, and my job is, as I told you guys, is kind of international sales. And I took Tony what Tony was doing, and I took that product and took it across the world. We didn't look only forward to get to the UK, to get to Australia, to get to the US. We made it very, very clear that Mexico it's so important to us. It's our home. It's the foundation of our brand. And Tony and his father made that very clear as well, that we're a Mexican brand, and they wanted to make sure that we kept the focus on the place that built it, and so that we keep going. We keep going.
Shall
well,
we have some?
yeah,
Shall we pour some?
yeah,
I think you should. I think you
because
should pour some. Yeah. What are you
Yeah.
pouring first? The
Well,
Blanco.
I think so. Well, let's take your view on it. I was going to suggest we go Blanco, then Platinum, then Reposado. Is that a good order?
Sure.
see,
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm ready to go with the Batanga, but
Okay.
I couldn't get Mexican Coca-Cola here. So I've gone for Japanese. I found a weird bottle of Japanese Coca-Cola in my local shop. Now I
Yeah.
know very different countries, very different countries. But
We're all going to taste
I've
it
got the
neat
But
nice.
first. But
yeah,
we're all going
taste
to
it
taste
neat
it neat.
first.
Yeah, so if everyone wants to pour a bit of it into a glass, then why don't you talk us through the Blanco, guys, in terms of
Okay.
what makes this particularly unique and
Well,
popular with the people of Mexico, and what sets you apart, you think, from other tequilas?
I'll tell you what's unique. First of all, as you have you seen, several of you have been to Mexico and know about the denomination of origin where tequila and agave can be grown.
Yeah.
So the most important part, we decided to use agave just from the highlands. Why the highlands? Even though we're located in the town of Tequila, because the agave from the highlands give you a more floral and fruital flavor. That's number one. My grandfather decided to bring all his agave from that area, even though logistically wise is not the best thing to do, but it takes about 6 to 8 hours to get here. Well, agave from the valley will take an hour to 2 hours. So that's number one. We sacrifice a little bit of, we have to increase the price maybe or cost more for getting better agave. Well, not better agave that fits our profile. Then two, we decided to cook our agave in autoclaves. Autoclaves that believe it or not, at one point used to be train carts. Why train carts? Because my great grandfather, he was a train engineer that was one of the guys that worked for the company that brought railroads to Mexico. So
Cool.
that was also
Amazing.
very cool. And my
Tony,
grandfather,
just to cut in, just so everybody knows, an autoclave, if you don't know, is
Yeah.
kind of like a giant pressure cooker. Okay, so that's how we use it.
And it's welded from old train carts. So
yeah,
they,
it's a train cart.
yeah.
It's a
We
train cart that they
we
cut
say
it there.
here a bit of Mexican engineering.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that a euphemism for any? I mean, that's just it's
yeah,
it's
Well,
Tony always
definitely.
tells a story which
artisanal.
is quite funny. Is until recently, we never used to have pressure gauges on the top, so it was all kind of done by senses. And once there's a guy at night he was a guy who was in charge, and he fell asleep. And have you ever? I don't know if any of you ever used a pressure cooker or remember when you were younger. And if there's an accident, you'll find the soup on the ceiling, and the door blew off the autoclave one day and went through two walls and into our neighbor's property. So since then, Tony put some pressure gauges in.
Learn the hard way.
Learned the hard way,
Fantastic.
yeah. But
I
Tony,
didn't
keep
know I
going.
was good.
No, so that's another thing. And then we decided to use roller mills. Why roller mills over Taona? Well, my grandfather said that the flavor that the roller mills gave to his tequila was the one that he was aiming for. He didn't like the Taona, not because it's good or bad, but it's different. You gotta have in mind that especially when you're a tequila family, we've learned that there's no bad tequilas. So there's some tequilas that are better than others, but you'll never hear me say that there's a bad
No.
tequila. So yeah, we respect the way everybody does their own tequila, but each one of us has his own unique way of doing it. But what's also unique in that part of the mills, the thing is that my grandfather decided to use water that comes from all the way from the volcano of Tequila. So now we have a pipeline that brings the water in, and that water has a special, like, well, not special, but several minerals and flavors that can influence into the production of our tequila. So that's also very important. There's only 5 distilleries right now that can use that water. It was like I say, that's the biggest scam I ever been, because my father used to be the president of the Water Association. And then one day I decided to criticize his work and say, well, why don't you become the president? It's only a 2-year terms, and this is, I think, my 16th year as president of the Water Association. So I'm the guy that controls the water. So
See, Tony, the mistake you made there was complaining. I'd just keep my mouth shut. You got an extra job. Bloody
yeah,
hell. It sounds like an important one as well.
But it
Um,
does taste. It's got that lovely fresh minerality to it.
yeah.
And
we've
that's
had some
got that.
feedback in the chat who people are saying exactly that, fresh and smooth. I mean, that's quite an achievement in terms of, when we get smooth spirits, smooth distillate, we tend to think of it as quite one-dimensional in terms of creamy, smoothie. It's quite hard to get something that has that mouthfeel but is really
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, it's part of the way of doing it, the way we decided to make it, the ingredients that we use and everything that we've put into our tequila. The yeast is one of the most important things.
Yeast is important. We have open fermentation, and all around the distillery we have mango trees. And you'll see all the fruit flies coming into the ovens when the ovens are opened, and then they're coming across the fermentation. So it's like a microclimate. So we add our yeast, but there's also yeast in the air and open fermentation. You just get much more complex fermented beverage, which then Tony takes to copper distillation. And what I'll tell you is from my years from starting coming here in maybe 2007 till now, there's not many distilleries left that use copper stills. Now, if you think of whiskey and Scotch whiskey, so a lot of them use copper stills. Why? Because it gives you that really much cleaner but more complex distillate at the end, which is the whiskey. And it's the same in tequila. We get a really beautiful distillate at the end.
Going a little bit back, the ingredients that we usually try for them to be top quality in the mixto, which we will be trying now. We decided that the mixto tequila, the law says has to be 51% agave and 49% other types of sugars. You can use any type of sugars. We decided first of all to use top sugar cane, and a special sugar called piloncillo. I don't know if you know what piloncillo is. I brought here one. I have one by my side. It looks like this. It's like a craft sugar, brown sugar, made by hand, and believe me, it has a delicious flavors. I've been munching on it a little bit, and even though sugar, it has other flavors, kind of like coffee or cinnamon. So that's
it's like sweet spices as well. It's like it's just sugar.
I brought one of those back from America. Well, my wife did actually, and I've never known really how to consume it. It's been in my cupboard, and I don't know how would you eat it's piloncillo. Is that how you say piloncillo?
Piloncillo, yeah.
Piloncillo.
Piloncillo, or in other South American countries, they call me like panela.
Oh, okay.
And
so just to go back,
can we just go back to that that conversation about mixto, because obviously one of the big ambitions for the CRT was to make sure that the regulation of the industry would stop poor tequila leaving the country and giving it a bad reputation, which is what has happened in the UK, really, because we were subjected to what you might say were average or even bad mixto tequilas, and that kind of gave that part of the industry a bit of a bad name outside of Mexico, because we'd only really tasted crap product, to be fair. So how
that's true.
is that a conversation in Mexico? The mixto thing, it never got that way because you had this tequila, which is good, or have you had to work hard to make a better mixto?
No, and that's the thing. In here, at least, we don't do any difference with our products. If it's gonna be a mixto, if it's gonna be a 100%, a reposado, an añejo, all of our products, we don't say this is gonna be better quality than the other one, so it's gonna be more expensive. So each and every one of our products, it's the best quality the best product we could do. It's like I say, they asked me if we have any special reserve for the family, and I said no. What you're drinking, it's our special reserve. If we like it, if it's good enough for us for liking it, then we'll sell it. Otherwise, we won't sell it. If we don't like it, it won't get to the market. So since my grandfather, he will get it either from the distillery or send somebody to the store to get tequila if he run out of tequila in his house. And that's the way we do it. We don't have any special reserve for us. Yes, we have special products, but not for us. It's for everybody. We don't do.
So as you've been out there, Stefan, is that something that's become, obviously it might have been a hurdle initially, but is it actually now a benefit
So,
because
well,
you
it's a
are.
little. I'll be honest with you. Like, so what happens? So everybody understands here, because even in the UK, tequila's still growing and people becoming
Mm.
educated. Probably around 20 years ago was the kind of the start of the industrialization of tequila. And what I mean by the industrialization of tequila is bringing in more efficient equipment that can make tequila in a more efficient way. Now, does that mean it's bad or good? That's really up to you to decide.
Yeah.
But what it certainly did was how I explain it is I say it created a more contemporary style of tequila. Okay, so the most tequilas on the shelves and of those 3,500 brands are made in the industrial process, which is called a diffuser. We do our process. Tony still does the same process, which is as a traditional process of making tequila. And so yes, there is still this 100% agave versus mixto kind of. Oh, mixtos must be bad. You can only drink 100%. But that's very top line brand marketing to consumers to try and sell their products. Really, process matters, and it doesn't matter the style of tequila as long as the process is well established and followed, and you have the intentions of the profile that you want, and that's what. Tony's very humble to talk about that, but really, him and his father and his grandfather. We just went somewhere like 2 weeks ago to a person invited us to his house here in Guadalajara, and he had like a couple of hundred bottles of Tequileño from 1980, and his father used to sell some sugar to his grandfather, and we tasted it. We opened one of the bottles, and it tasted really similar to the tequila now, and he said, "Oh, this is good." My father liked other tequilas, but his favorite was Tequileño, and actually anybody that knows tequila in Guadalajara drinks Tequileño, and it just comes back to being that reputation of process. Like, they know they're getting a good product, and Tony said we don't do any difference in our 100% agave versus our mixto tequila. There's no difference in process. It's just the mix of sugars. One is 100% agave, and the one you just tried there is 70% agave with a mix of sugars. And I won't talk too much on this, but I think it's a really interesting story of why 70% agave, because at the time his grandfather created this brand, there were a few tequilas in that area that were 70% agave, 30% sugar, and his grandfather, his twist on his recipe was adding that piloncillo as the difference one. But also back then, is you remember in England, you see all the old stately homes, you'll see they have pineapples on the gates. Because pineapples were a sign of wealth and prosperity and sophistication, and you couldn't get them, right? So to get a pineapple, so sugar at that time was kind of seen as the same thing. It was seen as a high quality ingredient. So your tequila with sugar was actually seen as higher quality product. And then over the years, changes in regulations, etc., and have kind of changed the path of tequila, and people changed their recipes, and Tony's grandfather refused to change his recipe. He loved it, and he actually bought the Mexican government increased sugar tax in the 80s, so a lot of people moved away from using the sugar because it was more expensive in agave, and his grandfather actually bought so much sugar that we only ran out of it like 6 years ago, right, Tony? So like
Big
that's
old
from like the late
warehouse.
80s. He didn't want to have to change his recipe. So it really, process matters. And in the UK, Tequileño is a great brand. There's other great brands of tequila, but that follow great processes and take a lot of pride in what they do. And it's just a different style. And I say the industrial produced the more contemporary style is more kind of green. Like I always give an analogy, like a green banana and a banana with black spots. Right. And what we need is like that black banana, black spots, that sweeter, more complex, richer versus the green banana. And that's kind of you'll find that now. If you go and try some, you'll work out which are industrial or not. But that's
but
where
also
we differ,
they'll use like corn syrup and fructose and lots of different things, won't they? They'll be
exactly.
and
they mostly use high fructose corn syrup in an industrial mixto, and we
but it's
don't.
interesting because I mean, just because when tequila was emerging in London and the UK, I think it needed a blunt, a very sort of easy to digest distinction between what people thought was tequila and what tequila could be, and the mixed O versus 100% kind of fitted that. It was because you guys weren't really around as a brand. It did sort of ring true, but now as the market matures, there's much more nuance to the different production methods of styles, and also just the history and the heritage. I mean, the Batanga, which is the very famous bar on tequila called La Capilla, and their signature drink is the Batanga. And am I right in saying that your tequila has to be used in the Batanga? I mean, not by law,
The
but
original, right?
it's
The
yeah,
original
Right.
recipe calls for Tequileño Blanco. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that was the way that Don Javier, the owner, decided to make it. But why? Because it was the tequila that he liked, and then that's how he make his own beverage. And well, La Batanga, it's now one of the most famous beverage for tequila drinkers.
Yes,
It's
And
it's
it,
we
very
were
big.
lucky
It's
enough to
made
go there, and
and
we've been a few times to when he was still with us, and
yeah,
watch him make them. It really is a lesson on you don't have to be like 6-star hotel highfalutin.
no.
You can
And I'm
make a
doing
great
this
drink and have a
deliberately
great
because
experience.
he stirred it
He used a
overnight.
knife
And
to stir it. Yeah, I mean,
there's
it's a
there's like
great drink.
80 mil of tequila in each drink, and that's why La Capilla, the literal English
Mm.
translation is like the chapel, and there's a joke: you go in standing and come out on your knees. So
Yeah.
it's always a good time when you're in La
Yeah.
Capilla. But yeah, that bar was in the world's top 50 bars for 4 years. It's become kind of it's like an institution in the town of Tequila. I mean, that's one thing we didn't really talk about a lot is there is actually a town called Tequila, and everybody now that comes to town of Tequila, if you don't go to La Capilla for a batanga, it's kind of like you've not been
Yeah.
there. I just saw one comment quickly before I'm sure we want to go into the next
yes,
tequila.
yes.
But it says checking for 100% agave in the UK is less to identify the best, but more about ensuring your rubbish is filtered out. It's a very good comment here because Tony makes his tequila and he makes it the way they've always done it. What you are allowed to do is add a bunch of stuff to your tequila, and so what you'll also find is there's tequilas that add additives to their tequila. That doesn't mean that you're allowed to by law add additives. So there's been a lot of negativity around tequila of additives is
Mm.
bad, and this is again you've got to take things with a pinch of salt. But certainly in our Blanco that you're trying is completely natural. Everything is from the process. There's no glycerine in there. There's no vanilla syrup, anything to make it smooth. Because I saw another comment earlier. I didn't expect tequila to be smooth, but the
Yeah.
smoothness comes from Tony's skill in distillation, and not by just finishing it off with adding a bunch of glycerine in it. And also because you're in the UK, it's probably quite cold right now. You might see
Mm.
that you get a lot of little crystals in your bottles. If you buy a
Mm.
bottle of Tequileño, you might see a bit cloudy and things floating in it. And they're the natural fatty oils because Tony doesn't chill filter. So it's kind of like a good Scotch whiskey. They get non-chill filtered, and that's the same because for us, the original recipe of Tequileño, fat equals flavor. So there's all these little nuances.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony could speak 3 hours about just the process, but all these little nuances come into his final product, and
Yeah.
and that's what
But you were
I'm
saying,
always very
Stefan, that in America you've had obviously in the American market, each state is very distinct, very different. But there were some states that were getting in touch, going, "Well, why are there these floaty bits floating around?" And then you
yeah.
obviously had the discussion at the distillery, going, "Well, what do we do?" And then you eventually said, "No, well, we're not changing it, because it's like having bits in orange juice, isn't it? It's like deal with it, and
It's yeah, it's
that's the story."
exactly it,
It
exactly it,
took
and we
us
just we just changed the label.
yeah, it took us a while to get rid. Yes, we can get rid of it. I found three different ways of getting rid of it, but each one changed the flavor. So we had to decide if we had to educate our customers that that's nothing wrong with it, or change the flavor. And we decided that the most important part that we have is the quality and the flavor.
Yeah.
Let's pour some
Oh.
more. We're going to get onto the
Platinum.
yeah.
Yeah, let's do the platinum.
Okay,
The
everyone.
platinum is exactly the same process, except that we don't use any other type of sugars. We only use agave and water. So that would be the main thing. The only thing that you'll see in our process in our blancos different to most people is that all of our blancos.
Oh, where's he gone? Mexican internet sometimes is not the best.
Mexican engineering. Hang on.
No. Tony's in the distillery, and
oh, here he is. He's
up
back.
over
He's got to the corner. Hang on.
I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. So yeah, the only difference is that all of our blancos will be rested for at least 14 days in wood. That also mellows it down. And that really makes a difference with tequilas, because that 14 days in wood, in American oak, will make a little bit of a difference for our tequilas.
Okay. Right. So let's talk us through a tasting of this one then, guys.
You'll see that one will have more of a little bit of a pepper, but also very fruitful, very citrusy, and that's because the citrus comes from the terroir, that it comes from the highlands. And that's the frutal part, and at the end you'll see kind of like a little bit of white pepper finish, but it's going to be very smooth, because both what makes it the smoothness, the distillation, and also the finish in American oak for a couple of weeks.
That is, I mean, the distinction is amazing, because that is just, it's kind of got a lychee feel to it. I think it's got
that mango thing. That mango is clearly having a massive influence, isn't it? I mean, that is extraordinary. It really is a kind of ripe fruit in there. That's
and if you want to do there's an experiment you can do. We will probably waste a little bit of tequila, but if you could put a little bit of tequila in your hands and rub your hands as his hand lotion, you'll see that's what Stefan was talking about the tequila. The tequila oil. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. God, that is.
And just I mean, obviously
it's really sticking around.
The first tequila we tasted, is famously in the Batanga. But if you go into a cantina in Guadalajara, how would locals be drinking it? If I'd be on, I imagine not them just drink it neat, but
yeah, normally neat, or the most traditional way of drinking is with soda, like Coca-Cola or mainly Coca-Cola, and they just blend it with mix it with Coke and tequila. That's the main way. That's where most people do it. There's no much of a mixology here in Mexico, and especially in cantinas. No. One Coke, maybe sparkling water, Coke, and tequila. That'll be the main thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Normally, if I go out with my friends to a cantina, we'll get a liter. That's the first bottle. In the middle, we got a little bucket of, they do half beers here in Mexico, called like a Corona, but they call them Coronitas. You got a bucket of half beers, and then you get your sodas. So you'll always be triple parked. You'll have a glass of a soda, your glass of tequila, and a little beer.
Oh, and I love Mexico.
And it's
so
always
good, isn't it?
It's always good. The conversation flows very quickly.
And it's warm.
That sounds amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah.
Hailing from Scotland, Stefan, you'll know what we're going through in this country at the moment, this time of year.
Yeah. We're actually cold here. We've been wearing jackets and stuff. That just shows how much I'm used to here. But I was laughing the other day there. But I was laughing because it was like 20 degrees. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's so cold."
It's weird how Stu Eakins always seems to go out there this time of year, isn't it?
Yeah. That's so fun. But yeah, but for this one, this tequila, obviously I love this one neat. I think it's really delicious. I love the floralness, the citrus notes, and all that. But I also really love it in a Tommy's margarita. And for those of you who don't know what a Tommy's margarita, and a traditional margarita is tequila, Cointreau, and lime, and a Tommy's margarita is just tequila, agave syrup, and fresh lime. And I just love, I think the citrus notes in this tequila goes really well with the fresh citrus and just a little agave and tansys, and it's such an easy drink to make at home, and it's just super delicious. Yeah, really
It's
well
also
balanced.
revolutionary in terms of getting people to drink tequila. We served a load at Christmas to a lot of our friends, and they couldn't believe that was an interpretation of the margarita. I don't think it would be very unfair to describe an interpretation of a classic as better than the classic, because the margarita did a lot of heavy lifting for tequila in the 1930s and 40s. But
Yep.
you know, it really is a better drink. I find and it's on the rocks, so it's got a, you know, if you're wanting to have something like proper in your hand, it really satisfies a lot more
Yeah, it's a great drink.
flavors and aesthetics, and it's a very good creation, I have to say. Make
Is
those
it ever?
people.
Is it ever? Do you ever use or the bartenders ever use the piconcillo in cocktails? Is that
Piloncillo.
something? That's the
So
one. Well
some,
done.
yeah. Some bartenders have having known our process have tried to use that in a cocktail for sure. But it's very difficult to get outside of Mexico. You can get it in South America, but it's kind of difficult. If you take it back with you, it's kind of, you know what, the closest you could be would probably be like Demerara sugar.
Yeah.
The closest, but it's got a lot more complexity than Demerara sugar. Really, it's like when you taste it, it is like chocolate, coffee, sweet, spicy. There's so much going on, but it's just sugar. It's just natural sugar from the area, and it's pretty amazing.
We just
What are you
lost
going on
Tony.
next? What are you
Tony went to get his coat, I think, and then
he'll
he's back.
it's just because he's in the distillery.
So he hasn't got the.
I think he's going on his phone. Maybe I'll ask him to see if he's
There he is. There he's back. He's back.
Sorry about that.
Hey Tony, do you think you could Tony, have you got do you think you could log on your phone and see if it can have a little walk outside?
Sure.
Just have a little.
That would be nice, actually. Let's see something outside.
Tony's in his office, and right behind him's a picture of his grandfather. And but right in front of him, he's looking across the whole distillery. So it's
and he's off. Oh, that's great. Look, and it's just on there. Okay, wait a minute. Hang on, I'm going to pin it. Wait a minute.
Pin.
Pin. I'm going to unpin the other one.
So let's see. You have to take it off blur, I think, Tony. Have you got it on blur or something?
Maybe that's what happens when you drink too much tequila.
Yeah, I think he's got it in the background on blur. That's what it is. But
and I don't know how to take it out.
You've got to go to your where you got to go to?
Hang on.
You've got to go to video, the little video sign, and it says blur my background.
Yeah, let me check. You keep on going, I'll check.
Okay. Yeah.
So
let's get the
reposado.
Let's get the reposado out.
Yeah, let's get reposado on the go.
So let me give you a little overview. So Blanco means unaged tequila, but can be rested up to 59 days by law. We rest ours for 14 days.
Yay!
There we go. And there we go. So see there, what you can see is the agave going straight from those ovens along a conveyor belt, and then right in the background there's some mills. So those are the big pressure cookers. We call them autoclaves.
Remove.
So that's the guys at work. They work from like 6 a.m. till like 2 p.m. because it gets too hot, and they load the ovens and they unload the ovens. So that's all that stuff you can see on the ground there. That's the agave. So that's all the agave that's been cut and is waiting to be loaded into the ovens. So there's like around 8 kilograms of agave per liter of tequila. So
how many grams? How many kilos?
Around 8 kilos of and mixed to a little less. Yeah, mixed to a little less.
And how much does a standard agave weigh, Stephen?
It really depends, but like 50 kilos.
Okay. And are those the autoclaves there? So they're the autoclaves there, yeah?
That's the autoclaves, yeah.
Wow, they really do look like train cars, don't they? I mean, I thought you sort of cut them all up and stuck them back
fashion them
together.
into
But
squares.
you just,
Yeah.
wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
Let's
amazing.
have
It's
a look.
very open, isn't it? Crikey, you're right. In
Yeah.
terms of like influence from outside yeast and fruits and all the rest of it, you can see why that's having that influence if it's that
Let's,
open.
yeah. So that Paul is just asked that question. How big are they? They're 13 tons.
Wow.
That's
Each or no? No. Altogether.
each one's 13 tons.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. So like they can hold 13 tons of agave. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now he's
Oh,
going.
right, okay.
Now he's going downstairs. Now he's coming. These little things he's looking at right now are where we cultivate our yeast. So we have our
Right.
own yeast strain. We actually told everybody for years we had our own yeast strain, but we actually really didn't know until we sent it to a laboratory in California about a year ago, and they told us. So what they're doing is they cultivate the yeast, and then they add the sugar into the yeast because the yeast go crazy. So that's what those are, and then we take that when we're making mixto. We take that and mix it with the agave juice.
What
And
I
that
like
was a
about it
pure
is it's
sugar,
quite
yeah.
sort of it looks quite rustic, it looks open, it looks natural. It's a
Oh,
bit like
wow.
when
Look
you
at
go
the fermentation
when you go to
places.
the Belgian breweries where they don't, got cobwebs everywhere and you don't touch anything because
Yeah.
it's a very live environment.
This
And
is it. Yeah. So these are
You don't want to
concrete
muck up the
fermentation tanks.
ecosystem.
100%. These are concrete
Yeah.
fermentation tanks, and depending on the time of year, but usually it's like 2 days or 3 days fermentation. So we don't use we don't heat them. So a lot of places now, because of they want to be efficient, right?
Heat
So
up
they
a bit,
have heating coils that keep it at the perfect temperature for the yeast to work, whatever. And this is all just we get it to the right sugar level and it goes into the tanks and off it goes. So these are all the fermentation tanks working away right now. And
wow.
Wow. I mean, what's it when you're there, Stefan, I imagine there's a lovely smell to that. There's a quite a sort of sweet.
it's the whole place is like sweet. Yeah, very delicious. It's like it's kind of you've got this kind of sweet potato, sweet pumpkin smell in the air, and yeah.
Wow.
And then he's coming down. We're doing a bit of work right now. We've just installed a new copper still. So these are the 4 copper stills that we have.
Where have
They're
they
all
come
made
from, Stefan? Where were they made by? Who were they made by?
in Guadalajara by he's an artisan that makes copper stills, but he does them all by hand. All by hand. So the one the biggest one he's looking at now, we're going to call it Big T, after Big Tony, because Tony, you can't see how Tony is, but Tony's like 6'3". He's a big guy, and he's a big bear. But yeah, so these are our copper stills. So this is very important.
One of the questions is how do you ensure consistency if you don't control the temperature of the fermentation?
Yeah, so when it comes out the oven, the agave is still warm, and they also during cooking process you have like another syrup because the weight of the agave pushes syrup which gets collected, and that's super hot in stored in a separate container, and then we have the agave that we mill and collect that juice. So a combination of the hotter agave syrup and the agave juice with the yeast. He has a team member that's checking the temperature and the sugar level, and when it's at the optimum temperature, it goes. But once it's in those tanks and the yeast start working, naturally it increases the temperature of the fermented beverage. So and it's insulated in those tanks. So you don't really need, for us, we don't need the temperature. Yeah.
No, and also
yes,
the yeast just gets knackered. It gets tired after a certain point, doesn't it? And a certain temperature, and it just stops. So, you don't want to muck about with it because then you're either
100%.
overworking or underworking it.
But yes, like to get a good question here, ultimately, every single batch of Tequileño we make is slightly different. Okay, you will know it's the same family, but there'll be little nuances that are slightly different because we don't control it with all these additives or the temperature control or whatever. But those differences for us is just part of our.
I think
that's a massive issue for the industry in general. This idea of homogenization and the idea that every bottle needs to taste the same. it really takes a lot out of flavor discovery, exploration, and your curiosity. I think that's why mezcal's done well, because it is
It's the
some of the stuff
variation.
that's come
Yeah.
over here is just like massively inconsistent. So it's been worn as a badge of honor, really. And I think it's like vintages, and every year you're getting a different bottle of
So,
red.
so he's
So
showing you now. This is a formulation tank. So this is where we decide
Oh, okay.
we're making 100% agave versus mixto. We put the liquids in there. This is what he's showing now. Is coming out the end is the fibers from the mills, and those fibers we actually we convert into compost. So 98% of our organic residuals we turn into compost, and we use that compost on the fields. And Tony, I'm just repeating what Tony says here because he is very loud where he is now.
right.
But he always says you take from the earth, you got to give back. So that's why we take the agave plant, we work that land, so we've got to put the compost on. So that, and this is the water. You see the water spraying on the fibers as
Yeah.
it goes through. It's like a what do you call them, a mangle?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Like a
basically
washing
what
mangle.
it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your mind? So it's just squeezing the fibers out, and it kind of recycles and keeps going through. But yeah, so that's the process of making tequila.
That's amazing,
I think he's
man.
going to go over to the
It's
ovens
lovely.
here.
It really is so good
Nats,
having him go
Nats
around.
has
It's
just
such a
said,
good idea.
Nats just said it's like this is a brilliant session. It really is, because we don't normally get this. So thank you very much for taking the time to go around
But
with the
That's
you
cameras.
can go and stay. You've got a hotel, haven't
Oh,
you? Yeah.
so actually, Tony's right where Tony is. We built a 24-bedroom boutique hotel. So if you ever guys come to Mexico and you feel like, hey, I want to go and check out the town of Tequila, make sure you get in touch with Tom and Ben, and we'll look
Yeah.
after you when you come here. You can
Yeah.
stay in our hotel, and then we'll give you a tour for free, and we'll show you around. And you'll. And we built that. We built that because we wanted the people to come and see, experience, and what happened was his grandfather used to have a little tasting room there. We used to have family parties, and but he was well known for having good parties, and they would start on a Friday and they'd finish on a Sunday. And so there's a real fun element to our brand as well. So we wanted to continue that. So this is he's gonna go into our hotel right now. You see all the mango trees all around.
Flipping heck. That's
I think
amazing. We don't like
somebody's
to
locked
talk
them out.
about it. We don't like to talk about it too much, Stefan, but we were in the Seychelles just before Christmas, weren't we, Ben? But
Oh,
the mango trees are everywhere, and I mean, it is a phenomenal tree, and the way that the fruit ripens and the smell that it puts out is extraordinary. So that must be just bloody hell! Look at that,
Yeah,
man. No wonder you moved over there.
I'm not liking this
yeah.
session anymore. It's making me a bit depressed.
So you can see that there's over to the left is a pool. The pool we actually converted.
What?
We converted the pool from where the horses used to drink and bathe, and we converted that into a swimming pool. And then all the agave trees are the mango trees all around. We've got one beautiful rubber. I don't know if you guys have a rubber plant in your house. My mother used to always have a rubber plant.
Yeah,
Yes.
But this is
weird thing in
Don't
when we
know
were
what you
kids.
mean.
but it turns out it's actually a massive tree. So there's like one of our biggest, most impressive trees is a rubber tree. Not rubber, it makes rubber.
No.
But yeah, well
Doesn't grow on trees.
while Tony's waiting to get in, I think he's just going to show you the hotel. I'll explain quickly. So Blanco, 0,
Yes.
unaged, are up to 59 days. We rest ours for 14 days. Reposado is a minimum 2 months, 60 days. Añejo is minimum 1 year, and extra añejo is minimum 3 years. Okay, so so that's the kind of the difference of the different categories, subcategories of tequila, shall I say? And so what you just tried a reposado. A reposado was 3 months in American oak. Okay, and they're big, huge.
So they're a lot
barrels,
bigger than others, aren't they? They're much bigger
Yeah.
aging.
Exactly. They're like 5,000 liters to 40,000 liters in size. They're different sizing. And why is that? Because Tony's grandfather, he wanted to make sure that agave was a predominant flavor. Then wood would enhance that flavor, not wood to be the predominant flavor, and agave after. So softer aging process with the big barrels. So Tony's walking in the hotel
Oh,
now.
man.
It's like
Someone
So
said, what do you think's in the pool? It's not tequila, is it?
yeah, right. Yeah, so actually, what we do here is like, we're a small company, so all the big companies, I'll be honest with you, they've got big teams that focus on sustainability and things, and we're small, so we don't really know how to communicate it, but we're doing a lot of things. So when we're distilling, the distillate has to go in a cooling tower, and you have cold water in this kind of this coil that cools down the distillate. That cold water in that cooling tower becomes hot. We pump that back to the boiler in order to reduce the amount of energy required to bring
Brilliant.
the water to temperature, and then that goes back across into the swimming pool. So you can
Brilliant.
say that making
Ah,
tequila
brilliant.
heats the
So you
swimming
kind
pool.
of asked
So
for sort of
It is.
yeah, so
It's gonna be tequila in there.
yeah.
hey Tony, turn around and show the hotel again, please. Yeah, you see, so it's a really
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
hotel. We used all the
Wow.
old red brick, and yeah, it's
Oh,
I stayed
wonderful.
there.
It's a
Yeah, I
delight,
stayed there
man.
last week, and it was very nice. So, but yeah, so
And
the reposado was 3 months. We age ours for 3 months. You can age it any time from 2 months and above. Most to make it very simple for consumers. Like most brands say, reposado is minimum 2 months up to 1 year. But it's such, if you want to get really technical and nerdy, it is not completely correct because there's no limit to reposado.
okay.
Is there not?
And
Is there not?
No.
I did not know
because
that. I thought it was pretty strict on a year. Okay.
no. So to be called añejo or extra añejo, you must age in a barrel of maximum capacity 600 liters or less. Most people will age in a ex-bourbon 200-liter barrel they'll buy from Kentucky or whatever, or a New American Oak. They're all 200, 225-liter barrels. Reposado has no minimum. So I forget, we have a product. It's probably like 150 pounds in the UK. It's in like Whiskey Exchange or whatever, called Reposado Rare, and we only made 20,000 bottles of it, and it was a 6-year Reposado. Okay, and the reason it should be called Extra Añejo because it's 3 years and above.
Yeah.
We
But the
could
thing's
not
big.
call it. Yeah, we could not call it Extra Añejo because we aged it in a barrel of 22,000 liters. So it exceeded the maximum 600 liters. So it has to, by law, be called a Reposado. And we thought we're marketing geniuses, so we called it Reposado Rare.
Nice.
Nice.
It's now run out everywhere in the world, other than the UK. Would you believe? Because our
Oh,
imports
so
in
we
the
should get
UK bought a huge
which
amount
brings
because
us
they
on
loved
to
it so much. Yeah.
there's
So
a couple of questions here, Stefan. Where should because it's incredibly good value. That's the thing Tom and
yeah,
I noticed as well. I mean, it really is. Where
It's
is
insanely,
there a
insanely
preferred
good
is there a
value.
preferred place to get it? I mean,
preferred.
whiskey.
No, not preferred, but
No.
whiskey exchange is good. Master
Yeah.
of Malt, Amazon. Actually, we sell a
Yeah.
lot through Amazon. Yeah, like if you're in London, Hedonism, they have a
Right.
product. Harrods now, if you fancy going to Harrods.
Well,
They
I want to go for my weekly
that was
shop
quite
there
interesting.
tomorrow. So
Oh yeah, it's quite interesting though, because Harrods is as prestigious a store it is. We got a phone call from their buyer saying we found your tequila, we absolutely love it, we must have it in the store. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. so that was very nice. But yeah, there's a number of places online, even places like Soho Jerry's up north. There's
yeah.
Starmore Brothers, which I think is in like Sheffield. Yeah, there's a bunch of places now
And
that got our
will it grow
product.
over here, do you think, Stefan? Is the plan to really grow it here?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
growing. It's growing really well, actually. It's growing mostly in bars and restaurants, to be honest with you. Yeah, we're kind of like it's you guys know, but there's two ways to grow a brand. You can stick huge amounts of money behind it and buy your way to the top, or we just tell our story. And that's
Word
what
of
we
It's
mouth.
do.
such a good one.
We're a small crafted distillery. We're one of probably only, I would say, Tony wouldn't say this, but I would probably say one of remaining kind of 15 true craft tequilas left in the industry. I would say, more or less, and most of those people are our good friends. You know, we've got one across the road that's related to Tony. We've got some down the road, and we actually, as craft distillers, we actually all help each other out. We do stuff together. We support each other. Now, so many groups of bartenders specifically and consumers are coming to the town of Tequila, and we'll call each other, hey, we've got these groups from wherever. Like next week, we've got Spain and Italy coming. So they're going to come to us, and they're going to them, and they're going to another one. And yes, technically we're competition. We are competition from a sales perspective, but really we just feel that if we get together and support the craft movement, we keep that traditional arm of the tequila history alive. So
when I last
yeah, we've
spoke
done
to
a
you,
lot of it.
Stefan, you did actually list. You gave me the names of those distilleries, which we won't go into now. But guys,
No,
if you,
we don't mind. We don't mind.
yeah,
Is one's called
but
Fortaleza and Hereti.
Fortaleza.
Yeah, yeah.
but
That's the one.
I've
That's
got
the
the list
distillery
here,
tour.
so I'll send that over.
Yeah. Well, that was the distillery tour you missed, wasn't it, Ben? Because the dog was licking your face.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I was
That is
very ill.
that is a
I was
yeah. I mean,
really ill.
that's the bit that I agree. That's how those sort of artisan businesses work in any industry is through cooperation with their peers. And yes, they are competition, but the fact that you're doing that and the fact that we went over there with another brand, but they took us to Fortaleza, that actually is really
Rising tide and all
critical
that,
for
I
your
like
wider marketing. So
I
Yeah.
like to say I tell Stephen that he's the one that has the hard job because he's the one that got to sell the tequila. I make tequila and then I go and literally I go almost every week with other tequila makers and we just go out and talk about tequila and drink some more tequila. So that's the
right.
fun part of being in the distillery. Last week I was with the guys from Arete. Yesterday I had breakfast with the guy from Fortaleza. So it's
great.
we're a family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
tequila makers, we're a family, and well, literally we're a family because we're related at some point, and also
yeah.
we're really really good relationships with each other.
Yeah, that's
Like
brilliant.
Tony's like, you're the uncle, or are you like the second uncle or something of Guillermo or something of Guillermo Souza, who's the owner of Fortaleza, but he's like
He
And
says
40 years younger.
no, I am actually his nephew, but he likes to say I'm his uncle to feel a little bit younger.
yeah,
Okay.
he's a character. I met him last time I was there. He's a great, great guy. I mean,
So
this is the thing. If you get to go, folks, you've got to go and pop into the sea to see these guys but just enjoy the town and when it's connected to the history of the category, it's so much more exciting than when you go to one of the big guys. And some of those big guys are under a bit of scrutiny at the moment, which we won't go into, of course, because
yeah,
all
there's a
tequila is
lot
good
of
tequila. But
exactly. Yeah, no, we just you know what, it's really, if you guys get to come out, you should, if you're in
Yeah.
Mexico and you're near here, you've got to come over, because when you really see tequila, and it really is growing, and this at the edge. The US is a very kind of mature market, but the rest of the world is still growing, and it still has that kind of stipulation of you're hammered at the end of the night, let's do a tequila shot, and then you feel terrible. But really, when you actually see the amount of effort that goes into the process of making tequila, it changes most people's perception, because
Yeah.
even whether you call it bad tequila or good tequila, just the process is really impressive, just from the growing of agave, which we never said for us takes a minimum of 6 years. So raw material takes 6 years
Yeah.
to grow, which every other spirit in the world that's got an annual crop cycle, for their raw material. And just all the way through, there's a lot of effort there, and I always say, if tequila was made in France, it would probably be 100 times more expensive,
Yeah.
because everything in France is perceived luxury. But yeah, it's just it's amazing. I think it's just that whole shot culture. If you come here to Mexico, especially here in Jalisco, and Jalisco is the home of mariachi, the home of charros, like the kind of, let's call them cowboys.
Yes.
It's very traditional. The home of tequila There's another agave distillate called Raicilla out here, but it's fun. Everybody has fun. So I think that what happened is the U.S. culture saw this fun happening in Mexico. Everything's colorful. They took it back and just associate tequila with parties and shooting.
Yeah.
But really here, everybody sits and sips their tequila. They sit and they sip their tequila and they enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those fantastic places where you just get it when you're there, even if you're someone who's never been a huge fan, you get there and it just all comes together. You're like, oh, I get it now, and you develop a taste for it, and it takes you back there when you drink it here, and it's a fantastic place. It's amazing.
I wish
amazing.
you would take me back there. It hasn't actually literally taken me back there.
We'll all go, guys. We'll go. If we buy enough of this stuff,
we can all go.
It's like air miles.
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
Well, I would say a massive thank you, because I know people will have other plans for this evening. We've done more than an hour, which is very generous of you with your time, guys. And thank you so much, Tony, for going around with your camera.
Nothing worse than a silence all set round the
applause. They are all clapping, and we've had some incredible feedback, some of the best feedback we've had on our sessions. So it was really worthwhile. So thank you so much. We're all going to go and buy some of your lovely tequila now. And Ben and I will be. When are we coming out? When are you bringing us out?
I'm booking the flights tomorrow, Stefan. So yeah, just
anytime soon.
Beds, yeah. All right.
Okay.
No, we appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Tony, we always do say that. Yeah, obviously we both work, but we both enjoy what we do, and
we have a lot of fun.
We have a lot of we have sometimes a little too much fun, to be honest with you guys, but it's always great out here. So you please come. We're always here, so we'd love to have you.
Right. Well, thank you very much for
Take care. Have a great weekend.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you too, guys. Weekend. Thank you for your time again. Take care. See you soon.
Take care.
See you soon. Cheers,
bye.
Cheers. Bye.